Alright, this is Tekken Tuesday. Again, just like yesterday, I started ranting, and I thought, why not just record it? You know, do something a little bit different than usual. But just like yesterday, I forgot to record it from the beginning, so it ends up starting somewhere in the middle somewhere, which I have to freaking catch myself next time. But basically, the idea is Mortal Kombat and Tekken. I've played every single main game in the series on both franchises, and I am a fan of the lore of both franchises, although there are a couple criticisms that I have on how they handle the story, especially most recently with the retcons they've been doing, and you know, just some of the little criticisms that I have. Other than that, generally I do like the lore, I do like the stories, generally speaking, and hopes that I have in possible futures of the franchise. You know, again, just doing something a little bit different. So yeah, Kazumi and the Devil Gene, and then the problem with that is, the problem that I had with that is that basically the original story of Tekken 2 was Kazuya made a deal with the Devil. So when you play Tekken 2, he doesn't turn into Devil Kazuya, he turns into the Devil, because the Devil was actually possessing him. That was part of the deal. The Devil was like, I'll keep you alive if I get to, you know, take over, yada yada yada. And of course, you can imagine Kazuya being so hateful toward what his dad Heihachi did to him. He's like, do whatever I gotta do to get back at Heihachi. And so he took the deal. The issue is, by the time he defeated his father and made it, you know, to the top of the Mishima Zaibatsu, he that's when the Devil was like, okay, now it's my turn. Now you have to hold your, you know, hold up your end of the bargain. So his end of the bargain was he gets to take over, and that's when Kazuya taking over caused a lot of corruption. There was a lot of corrupt things going on within the Mishima Zaibatsu. They were doing things like, you know, horrible animal testing and things like that, which of course Jun Kazuma was against. And so of course that's how Kazuya and Jun meet. Of course Jun wasn't having that, so Jun did everything she could to make it up all the way up to the top in the tournament, Tekken tournament, so that she could fight Kazuya. But then the Devil basically seduced her, and that's how they ended up having Jin. But Kazumi literally throws that entire story out, because now the story is it's a Devil gene that Kazuya got from his mother. You know, so that kind of throws the whole. So then the question then becomes, well, then in that case, how did Kazuya and Jun meet in the first place? Right? Because Jin is obviously still alive. Jin is obviously still Kazuya's son. So then how did Jin come to be now? If all of that about the Devil and how, you know, everything that happened led up to them, to Jun and Kazuya meeting, well, if all of that's thrown out the window now that he didn't need to make a deal with the Devil because that Devil gene is in him, you know what I'm saying, then of course he doesn't have another entity controlling him. He, you know, he wouldn't have done all of that stuff because there's nothing to gain for him doing all of that stuff. So then how did him and Jun meet? And I'm hoping, and if there is a Tekken 8, and I'm sure there is, Tekken 7 did so well, I'm hoping that in Tekken 8 they bring back Jun and explain how in this new retcon storyline they met. I think that would be pretty dope. I'm hoping that's what happens, which would explain why they didn't put Jun in Tekken 7, as I was kind of hoping they would, because yeah, it leaves a huge plot hole, which is kind of whack, sort of. But if they cover it If they find a decent way to cover it in Tekken 8, then I think that would make up for that plot hole that they left behind in Tekken 7. But anyway, other than that, I mean, story-wise, I've been pretty cool with it. You know, I kind of like how the story goes. In the original timeline, you know, first, I believe it starts with Jinpachi, of course, being, you know, actually a good grandfather to Kazuya. You know, they'd play, and you know, he'd be his, you know, loving grandfather. Booyah! Oh, I thought that would break it. But of course, the original story of Heihachi was that Heihachi was just this power-hungry guy, and he was willing. To him, power meant everything, even more than it meant more than family. And this bear is kicking my ass. It meant more than family, right? Heihachi saw what Jinpachi and Kazu was doing, was like, man, these suckers are weak. I can't believe I had such a weak bloodline. And of course, damn, Jinpachi. Well, of course, like chill, son. It's not that big a deal. Like, you know, we got this. We're cool. We don't have to be complete assholes. And of course, Heihachi was like, nah, I'm not hearing that. We need to gain more power. We need to take more power, right? That's what it's all about. So eventually, Kazuya got tired of Jinpachi being weak, right? As he saw it in his eyes. So he ended up killing Jinpachi because he wanted that power. That lust for power just kept eating at him, as you can imagine, until that's all that mattered. And then he ended up killing his own father, and burying him at the bottom of the tower, etc., etc. Then he ends up throwing, you know, Kazuya off a cliff, and now he's like, he has it. You know, he's the owner of the Mishima Zaibatsu, and he has all the power, and he can do what he wants, and he got what he wanted. But of course, what he didn't bargain for was Kazuya coming back and taking revenge, which was, you know, a nice family revenge tale. Is always, you know, is a classic tale as old as time, so it works well. The only thing is now, again, like I said, with the whole Kazumi thing, they've kind of, I don't know, it's not the same. It doesn't feel the same, right? Because now it's not, hey, Hachi's an asshole, we have to do something about that. And then, of course, the bloodline causing them to constantly fight all the time makes Jin hate them. Oh, damn. It makes Jin hate the bloodline and want nothing to do with it. Then he has to face the fact that he has to face it, and he can't just walk away from it, and that's a pretty good storyline. But with Kazumi, now it's kind of weird, because now it's like, you know, Heihachi wasn't trying to really be a bad guy. He did what he had to do because she was actually evil, because she was part of this devil gene evil clan or whatever. You know, so like he was kind of, although he was kind of an asshole, he was also not a complete asshole. And I don't know, I don't think that's always necessary in every single storyline. Like, yes, not everybody's completely, you know, black and white evil. We know that, but sometimes, and especially in like a fantasy story, there's nothing wrong with that. There are people who are completely power hungry and are willing to, you know, sacrifice everything else for that power hungriness. You know, sometimes it is selfishness. You know, sometimes people do things out of selfish desire, and that is realistic. And you know, it's okay to have that in a story. You know, the original Thanos, right, killed all those people to impress Lady Death in the original storyline, right? It was completely selfish. It wasn't all, you know, everything that they made up in the MCU. So I don't know, all these retcons, which is funny because I think it's just the retcon itself, you know, because like with Sindel, I liked the idea that Sindel wasn't evil, she was brainwashed, you know, but now she's just a complete evil asshole, and I don't like her anymore. And it's not the fact that she's evil, it's the fact that they retconned it. You got so used to, you know, they took so much time writing this story and then just threw it down the toilet and said, we're gonna do it this way instead. And their little trick of how they were able to do that was with the multiple timelines thing, which I get it, but it still leaves a bad taste in my mouth. But yeah, the retcon in Tekken 7 isn't horrible. It kind of feels watered down from the original story, but it's not a horrible storyline. But like I said, it does leave some pretty big plot holes that I really hope Tekken 8 fills in. The whole thing with adding Akuma in the story for like marketing points, I don't agree with it 100%, because of course they're gonna throw that out in Tekken 8, right? It's gonna be like as if it never happened, and I don't like that kind of stuff. I think that's kind of, you know, it's kind of trashy, but it is what it is. I know it was a one-time thing to sell the game and get everybody excited for the game, so I can't hate on it too much, because it worked, right? Nobody gave a crap about Tekken Tag 2. Rather, you know, they don't want to admit it, but nobody gave a crap about Tekken Tag 2, and now everybody's playing Tekken 7, so it worked. So I can't hate on it too much. I just don't, you know, when Tekken 8 comes out, that storyline is going to pretend Akuma never existed, which is kind of funny, but whatever, you know. I just hope that, like I said, they bring back Jun and explain how Jun and Kazuya met. I think that would be great, because I mean, the pulling on your heartstrings thing that they did in the Tekken 7 story with Kazumi and Heihachi wasn't bad. As I said, like, the story itself wasn't bad. The execution wasn't horrible. I just, you know, I'm not a big fan of unnecessary retcons, and I felt that retcon was completely unnecessary. But Kazumi's a cool character. I can't hate on her, and how they executed the story was good, so I can't really hate on it too much. I just hope that, again, they fill in that plot hole in Tekken 8, and I hope that they don't just, I hope that let's be honest, she's dead. She died in the story. She's not gonna come back in Tekken 8. And that's the part that feels kind of trashy, you know? They force-fed this character, and they created a whole new retcon for this character that isn't even gonna be in Tekken 8, because she's dead. You know, that's the part that kind of sucks about it. If she was gonna be like a new, if she was gonna be like a new character from now on, that's one thing. I'd be like, okay, whatever, as long as they can fill in those plot holes, which I still hope that they do fill in those plot holes, but you know, it'd be easier to accept. But the fact that she died, and the very story that they created a whole retcons to fit her in, just, I don't know, it feels kind of trashy. I don't know. She just could have been a new boss character, and they could have fit her in another way. But to retcon an entire storyline for a character that isn't even gonna show up in the next game is just, I don't know. It just feels trashy to me, but whatever. Like I said, as long as they add Jun and they and they explain how Jun and Kazuya met in this new retcon, I'll be okay with it. I'll accept it. There's no way freaking Devil Kazumi can fight freaking Leroy. Leroy's just too good. Anyway, I thought I'd try one more rant because I like Tekken and Tekken lore almost as much as Mortal Kombat. Tomorrow I'm going to definitely get back to doing Yakuza Like a Dragon. I want to continue that series. I don't know if I'm going to finish it because it's pretty freaking long, but I'm going to try to at least, you know, get far enough into it, and then we'll see where things go from there. This was just a quick video of me ranting about my personal thoughts on Tekken so far. I'm a big fan of Jun Kazuma, if you can't tell. But anyway, this is just some random ass rant that I did, trying to do something different. And yeah, that's it.